In many parts of the world, being a shorter man can feel like a disadvantage. Movies, media, even dating apps, they all seem to push one quiet message: taller is better. But what if I told you that's only true in some places? That there are entire countries where being a shorter man isn't just normal, it's actually preferred. Where the average height is lower, where cultural expectations are different, and where confidence, character, and connection matter far more than how tall you stand. In these places, being shorter isn't something to apologize for, something that simply works. Today, we're counting down 10 countries where shorter men aren't just accepted, they're winning. Stay with me until the end, because the country at number 3 might completely change the way you see international dating. And before we get started, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We share real-world insights on global life, dating, and migration. The stuff most people aren't talking about. All right, let's get into it. Number 10, Guatemala. Let's start in Guatemala. One of the few countries in the world where the average male height is just 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters. In Guatemala, height simply isn't the issue it is in places like the US or Western Europe. Why? Because nearly everyone is shorter. And more importantly, dating culture here doesn't revolve around physical dominance or appearance-first attraction. Instead, Guatemalan society values family ties, community involvement, and emotional presence. In rural areas especially, these traits are what define a good partner, not the inches on a measuring tape. If you show up with loyalty, respect, and genuine interest in building a life together, that's the currency that matters here. Many foreign men visiting Guatemala report the same thing. The focus isn't on looks, it's on how you treat people. And when the cultural baseline is already shorter, you're starting on level ground. Number 9, Indonesia. Indonesia is the 4th most populated country on Earth, with over 270 million people. But here's what most outsiders don't realize. The average male height is around 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters, and the dating culture reflects that reality. In many parts of Indonesia, especially outside the big tourist zones, height is not a primary marker of attractiveness. Modesty, kindness, family values, and being a good provider are what matter most. In traditional Javanese and Balinese culture, personal harmony and social balance are prized. Loud displays of dominance or arrogance, which often get tied to the tall alpha male stereotype, are actually frowned upon. Foreigners coming into Indonesia expecting height to give them an edge often find out the hard way. It's not about size, it's about softness, respect, and how well you fit into the social fabric. Shorter men who carry themselves with confidence, without overcompensating, often thrive here. Number 8, Philippines. In the Philippines, the average male height is about 5 feet 4 inches, 162 centimeters, with women averaging around 5 feet 0 inches, 152 centimeters. But what makes the Philippines really different is not just the numbers, it's the mindset. Filipino culture openly values qualities like humor, loyalty, hard work, and family orientation far more than physical attributes. There's even a common saying in the Philippines: the heart matters more than the face. And that includes height. Many Filipinas openly admit that height isn't high on their list of priorities when looking for a partner. Good communication, shared values, and emotional availability easily outrank looks. Plus, Western standards of tall, dark, and handsome don't translate the same way here. The dating culture is relational, not transactional. If you show up with sincerity, commitment, and respect for family, your height is barely part of the conversation. Number 7, Vietnam. In Vietnam, the average male height is about 5 feet 5 inches, 164 centimeters, and the dating culture reflects this reality. But Vietnam's preference for men isn't just about height, it's about how you carry yourself. In Vietnamese culture, attributes like stability, family commitment, and respect for elders often rank higher than physical appearance. The idea of the tall alpha male doesn't hold the same social weight here as it does in the West. In fact, overt dominance or arrogance can be seen as disrespectful, making softer communication and humility far more attractive traits. Many Vietnamese women openly say they prefer men who are reliable, supportive, and emotionally available over any superficial traits. And because the height baseline is naturally lower here, shorter men fit the social norm perfectly. There's no stigma. There's no need to explain your height. Here, being shorter isn't something you have to work against. It's just normal. Number 6, Peru. Head to Peru, and you'll find one of the lowest average male heights in Latin America. About 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters. But more importantly, you'll find a culture that doesn't obsess over size the way some Western countries do. Peruvian dating culture, especially outside of big urban centers, focuses on trust, family, and hard work. Rural Peru still holds on to more traditional values, where character far outweighs appearance. And in cities like Lima, while global beauty standards are creeping in through media and social networks, the cultural core remains the same. A partner is judged by how he treats his family, not by how tall he is. Interestingly, because so many men fall within a similar height range, there's very little pressure to be taller. Women aren't looking up for their options. They're looking around at compatibility, reliability, and presence. Shorter men here find that they can build relationships without ever having to defend their stature. Number 5, Bolivia. Bolivia often gets left out of conversations about global dating culture, but it shouldn't. With an average male height of about 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters, Bolivia is one of the few places where being shorter is simply part of the social fabric. But what's even more interesting is that in Bolivia's indigenous communities, which make up a large part of the population, physical presence is not tied to dominance. Instead, values like community contribution, family loyalty, and cultural participation are far more important. Women here are often looking for men who are involved in their communities, connected to tradition, and supportive in daily life, not just tall. And unlike many Western cultures where height can be used as a quick filter in dating apps, in Bolivia, relationships tend to form through family networks and community connections, places where your reputation, not your height, does the talking. Shorter men aren't at a disadvantage here. If anything, they're the default. Number 4, Thailand. In Thailand, the average male height is about 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters, but in rural areas and among older generations, the average is even lower. More importantly, Thai dating culture tends to emphasize kindness, family orientation, and emotional stability far more than physical attributes like height. In Thai society, relationships are built on social harmony, respect, and gentle communication. Aggressive dominance, often tied to the Western stereotype of the tall alpha male, is considered unattractive or even rude. Here, being humble and emotionally calm is seen as a sign of strength. Height doesn't automatically equal desirability, balance does. Many Thai women look for partners who can offer patience, care, and loyalty. Because the height baseline is naturally lower, shorter men often find themselves on equal footing from the start. In Thailand, your emotional intelligence speaks louder than your height ever could. Number 3, Ecuador. Ecuador is one of the most diverse countries in South America, and also one of the places where height plays a much smaller role in dating. The average male height here is around 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters, and culturally, Ecuador places enormous value on family ties, religious faith, and work ethic, not appearance. In many Ecuadorian communities, especially outside the big cities, relationships are formed through family networks and community gatherings, not quick judgment calls on dating profiles. Shorter men aren't seen as less masculine, they're seen as normal. What matters is how you treat your partner's family, your ability to be reliable, and your willingness to be present in the relationship. This makes Ecuador a country where shorter men don't have to overcompensate or explain themselves. They're judged on who they are, not how tall they stand. Number 2, Cambodia. In Cambodia, the average male height is about 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters. But what makes Cambodia stand out isn't just the numbers. It's the deep cultural respect for humility and emotional balance. In Cambodian society, men are expected to be gentle, respectful, and cooperative. The Western idea of tall dominance is not seen as a virtue here. In fact, it can be a turnoff. When it comes to relationships, compatibility, kindness, and stability matter most. For Filipinos and other Southeast Asians who visit or work in Cambodia, many report that the dating culture feels familiar. It's not about appearance first, it's about how well you fit into the rhythm of life. Shorter men here are not only accepted, they are often preferred for being approachable and aligned with traditional values to you. Number 1. Bolivia. Correction from earlier ranking based on broader research. While we mentioned Bolivia earlier in the list, deeper research confirms it belongs right at the top. The average male height here is about 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters, making Bolivia one of the shortest male populations globally. But more than the numbers, it's the cultural mindset that makes the difference. In Bolivia, especially in indigenous communities like the Quechua and Aymara, relationships are built on cooperation, shared labor, and respect for tradition. Physical height has no connection to status or desirability. Men are often judged on how well they participate in family life, contribute to the household, and respect cultural customs. It's not about towering over your partner, it's about standing beside them, contributing equally. For shorter men, Bolivia isn't just a place where they fit in. It's a place where they're fully seen.